Hello. This video is going to be talking about a case for personal core values, and encouraging you to make a set of core values for yourself. And I'm also going to share my own personal core values, how they came about, what they represent to me. And then I'll provide some suggestions of how I might go about setting some personal core values myself. So, first, the case. As is sort of written here, every company should have a set of core values. If you take the time to actually articulate what matters most to you, how it sort of all creates this larger puzzle, and document that, it shows that you've put some thought into it. It shows that these words have actual meaning. And then having those core values allows you to really, guide major businesses forward, right? Facebook it says they've had this mantra of like, or Meta, that they're only 1% finished, right? So it's like at all points, even no matter how far they've come, they're at 1% of the work they're going to do. There's just this urgency, there's this drive. Bolt, company that now went under, but I really liked one of the things they said was fail 20% of the time. If you're not failing 20% of the time, it's like you're not trying hard enough. You're not trying new things enough. These core values, when done well, not only create cohesiveness, but they impact everything, right? Decision making, culture, partnerships, locations, where we should have our offices, who we should interact with, our pricing, our partners. Everything ultimately really should be in part guided by these core values, because these core values are saying this is what we're about as a company, this is what we're doing, right? So that's sort of where this concept of core values came, is to give direction, meaning to these massive organizations. So, by creating a set of core values for yourself, you're offering yourself this sort of similar guidance through life, which I think is both a really nice exercise to go through, and also is really freeing, is really nice. It's almost like this shield, because in the world of decision fatigue and overload of all the different options in front of you, if you have these guiding core values, it allows you to navigate life with this sort of calm, simple, matter of fact way. I know for me, at least, when I stick to my core values, it allows me to really navigate the world pretty simply, pretty straightforward. And the answer, as far as how I should act, how I should behave, what my decision should be, is relatively clear. And a lot of that stems from these core values that I've written. So I have mine in order, right? But they're ordered not necessarily with importance, but I did write them in a way that I think sort of builds on each other. They're sort of layered, and I do think that's a nice part of what I created, right? So the first one is show up, because to me, show up is like the most important thing in life. You got to show up for yourself, you got to show up for your friends, you got to show up for your family. Showing up is step one, right? You got to get yourself in the ring. You want to get the job, like show up. Show up on the interview. Show up. Did you show up on game day? Is if you performed, right? Sometimes you don't show up. It's okay, but showing up is such a good way to get ahead. Showing up with your full self, showing up consistently. Showing up at UCLA gave me leadership opportunities, getting to know people, right? Showing up in the world of cannabis, I built a huge network. I was able to get jobs. I show up consistently for myself running, and that's allowed me to run consistently, even as a 34-year-old. I know it's not crazy old, but I'm still running 8-9 minute miles pretty consistently. Like, I'm in pretty good shape. And all of this comes from showing up consistently. So, at some point I declared show up was a core value. It stuck. And then since then I've sort of added to it. So these are my core values, right? And then I talk about enjoy being the last one, but I'll just sort of work my way through since this is a video. So these are my core values. Number one, show up. As I mentioned, I think it's the foundation to success. Show up. It's been foundational to my success. It's how I want to live in this world. I want to show up. I want to show up for my people. It's something that really matters to me. So that's why show up to me is sort of the foundation. Number two, work hard. I think working hard is really important. I know. Wow, groundbreaking statement, right? Yeah, I know. But I think that the art of working hard has also diminished over time. And I know that's my first kids these days statement in this video, which I have several opinions that are kids these days sort of energy. But work hard is a core value, both because, again, it has worked for me and it is a reminder to myself of its importance, that working hard is good. And it's not to say work hard necessarily for others. I'm pretty anti corporate. I don't necessarily mean grind your life away for a job, especially a job you hate, but for the things you want, for the things that matter to you, yeah, work hard for your health, work hard to get the person that you love, for the person that you love, work hard for them, work hard for your family, work hard for the things that matter to you. And when you work hard, the universe notices. It may not be immediate, but it does in time reward hard work. And so number 3 is be your word. Be your word. Come on. I mean, one of my favorite quotes is, "A man who never lies doesn't have to remember anything." And I've never been much of a liar. I can do it in maybe like games, Settlers of Catan. I'll say I don't have wood. I might have wood. But generally speaking, I really struggle to lie. I have to be direct. When I have bad news, I share it. I can beat around the bush. I can have tact. I'd say tact is something that I've incorporated more into my life over the years. One of my favorite monologues from modern TV comes from Jon Snow. And it's like one of the last scenes in Game of Thrones, and basically they're like, just bend the knee to Cersei, and he won't. And he won't. If he just bend the knee, they would be like, okay, we're cool, and on we go. But he won't. And he's basically like, nah, this is not my queen, and I'm not gonna lie. And he's like, if words are just words, then it's lies on lies. And it's an amazing scene. Go watch all seasons of Game of Thrones to get to that moment if you haven't seen it yet. If you know what I'm referencing, you know what I'm referencing. But the whole point is, be your word. It is freeing. It is freeing. People don't like to make commitments. Then just say no. Say you're not going to be there. Let it go. Be your word. Do what you're going to say. Say what you're going to do. One of the things I like to say is, I say it like it is, not like it isn't. So be your word. Stay curious. You have to keep learning, and you have to learn how you learn, right? And so staying curious has enabled me to network. Staying curious has enabled me to pursue graduate degrees. Staying curious has allowed me to show up to interviews more prepared than any candidate they probably would have imagined, because I just went on a deep dive of an organization or what was happening. Curiosity is one of the most important, I think, skills, or I don't know, interests to harness, especially in today's world. So staying curious enables you to try new things, learn new things, be optimistic that you can learn new things, right? Want to learn new things. Newness, you're either growing or you're dying, right? That's what life is. Life is very rarely stagnant. Life is often growing or it is shrinking. And so if those are the two options, I want to choose to be growing. And one of the ways that I grow, and I will continue to grow, is by staying curious. But when you see more of the world, that's what leads you to number 5. When you start being curious and when you start getting out there, then it can be easy to judge. It can be easy to say, there's a difference between I wouldn't do that and I don't like that. You know what I mean? And you can also not like something, and not like it for yourself. Another one that I love for don't judge is don't yuck a yum. I like to say don't yuck a yum. If someone likes something and you don't, that's okay. You're allowed to not like things. And this, again, this is a little interesting in the current political state, I will say, because I do think that disagreements are becoming more foundational to human rights and ethics. But that said, I still think that by not judging, you can disagree vehemently. You can be about action. You can take action. You can remove people from your life who you do not want to interact with, who do not serve you, who you cannot, maintain. You can do so many things, but judging just does not serve anyone. Anytime I judge, my biggest judgment with people is disappointment. I am such a fan of others that I have to fight my own disappointment in people, that I'm like, you didn't do that? Like, man, come on, you're so good and you didn't like do X, Y, or Z thing. You said you were going to do this, right? It's like, I'm of course frustrated when people let me down, but I get most disappointed in others. And so that's my judgment that I work on, right? I try to really not judge people, and I just acknowledge and give grace as much as possible. And it's something that I practice. And it also, don't judge, also has to do with yourself. Do not judge yourself. You don't want to judge yourself. You don't want to be, you don't want to limit what you're doing because you're afraid of judgment from yourself, of how your own consciousness is going to react. You have to be soft. You have to be gentle. You have to be gentle on others. You have to be gentle on yourself. Don't judge. And finally, advanced position in yoga. If anyone wants to reach advanced position, what you do is, whatever it is that you're in at the moment, you can just close your eyes, you can keep them open, and just bring the corner of your right lip to your right ear and the corner of your left lip to your left ear. And that, my friends, is enjoy. That is advanced position. And that's why enjoy is one of my core values, because I am here to enjoy. I am here to enjoy. I am blessed with the opportunity to live and live a life as a human with a consciousness. Oh my God. You know how many things out here just like don't really get to experience this, but then, whatever it is, I hope they're enjoying too. I hope the plants are enjoying. I try to treat every living species with the same amount of energy and love, because I want these values to apply to everything. But ultimately, enjoy is the tip of Maslow's, right? So the tip of Maslow's is self-actualization, actualization of self. You are truly, all your basic needs are met, so now you can like be your full self. Similarly, if you're doing all these things, if you're working hard, if you're showing up, if you're being your word, if you're learning new things, if you're not judging yourself and the people around you, when you have combined all of these things, you can enjoy. I enjoy so much of my life. I enjoy difficult things. I enjoy the fun things. I enjoy moments of growth. I remind myself of how grateful I am to be in positions, even when they're difficult. I really do try to enjoy as much as I can of my time here, because I do know it's precious. I do know it's limited. So enjoy to me is the final core value, and for me sort of wraps it all up and puts a little bow. So I'm very proud of these core values. They may change. They have grown. I like it at 6 right now. I feel pretty holistic in what this covers. Most things, most sort of lessons and beliefs fall into one of these categories right now of core values. So now for you, what are yours? If I were you, I would honestly start by just going to like Google and searching like core values. I'm doing that right now, right? You search core values. Look, here's a core values list with 500 examples. Free download. I'm going to put this in here. Examples. Right? I would go in there, I would click that, click that link and see if anything comes to you, right? Best people, change, carefulness, courtesy. There's all these different words. Go see what speaks to you, and maybe highlight a handful of them. Maybe do a mix of sort of things that you do want and things you don't want, right? I only have one thing of my 6 that I say don't do. The rest are encouragement to do, but you can be either, right? It's like you can either be for a certain value or you can be against a certain value. But I would really encourage you to go through here, write them down. If you don't know what to do, just pick one to start. Say, this is something I'm about. That's how it started for me. It started with just show up. Show up was my first core value. And from there, it's grown. And so don't feel like you need 6. Don't feel like you need any. But I do think that setting them allows you to, again, I just think it's a beautiful exercise because you don't want too many. So you want to be intentional with what your core values are. And then B, it's just a nice little guidebook for how you want to show up. So I'd love, if you go through this process, I would love to hear what you come up with. And feel free to email me, message me, reach out, and let me know what your core values are. I hope I've convinced you to try them out.